will be talking about humanitarian assistance from Poland. These are 40 trucks that were delivered to our guys in ATO zone and to the citizens there in the end of the last week. I would like to invite Henryk Litwin, the ambassador from Poland to Ukraine, Marta Titanets, coordinator of international projects at Caritas Poland, Andriy Waskowycz, President of the International Charity Foundation Caritas Ukraine, Hrihoriy Seleshchuk, coordinator of the Helping the IDPs program at Caritas Ukraine. Thank you. I am Andriy Waskowycz, President of Caritas Ukraine. Thank you for coming to this press conference, to this meeting, to hear about humanitarian assistance which was provided by Republic of Poland to Ukraine, especially to IDPs in Ukraine, and that is the sign of big solidarity of Polish people with those who are in need in Ukraine. The assistance was provided in three parts. Some assistance that was transferred to different organizations. It was financed by the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and organizations that were receiving were counterparts, those who interact with organizations in Poland, Red Cross, Caritas Poland, Caritas Ukraine, and Organization of International Assistance in Poland, with the counterparts with charity organizations in Kharkiv. The assistance crossed the border quite quickly. There were 23 trucks from Poland. It was 60 tons of goods. The goods, we have documents what was in that convoy. These were food products, hygienic products, sleeping bags, heaters, everything needed for the winter time, everything needed to help our people to spend winter. We have great cooperation with Ukrainian customs, with the Ukrainian Ministry of Social Policy, which were helping this transportation. And for the first time, the customs clearance was taking place in cooperation between Polish and Ukrainian customs from hands to hands. All the bureaucratic obstacles were overcome in a very brief period of time, and that showed how the cooperation could work. It is important that the assistance went to the east of Ukraine, to IDPs. We know that the numbers of IDPs today is 600,000 registered, and that is a huge problem of Ukrainian society. Caritas Ukraine, from the very beginning of humanitarian crisis, is overcoming this crisis, is assisting those people who suffer mostly from what's happening in the east of Ukraine, those people who had to leave Crimea. We've been helping from February to those people who suffered at Maidan, and we are trying to be very organized. Caritas Ukraine created the center in Kharkiv, a center of assistance to people, and we have already 80 people who are helping others so that they are ready for winter, so they are not left alone. And we demonstrate the solidarity of our society and the world society with those people who are in trouble today. We are helping about 40,000. We can provide direct assistance to about 40,000 people. That is assistance in finding accommodation, paying for accommodation, food product sets, and we are trying to help those who require most assistance. Talking about humanitarian assistance that arrived from Poland, it is very important to mention one thing, and that is solidarity of Polish people with Ukrainian people. And I would like to express my gratitude to Polish Caritas and the director of Polish Caritas, Marian Sobacz, Father Marian Sobacz, for joining us in this solidarity action. Caritas Ukraine will continue providing assistance. We're working with our partners from different countries of the world, with Caritas Germany, Caritas Austria, and Caritas of the United States of America. And they provide not just material assistance, but they're experts and expert assistance, and they help us organize assistance so that it is very efficient and so that it comes fast to people. For Ukraine, the situation of crisis is unexpected, and we were not ready to such tasks as a Caritas, as a charity organization, so that we need to provide assistance in such emergency situation. So we would like to thank all those who help us help others, and I would like to call upon the global community to help Ukraine. Ukraine demonstrated its internal solidarity and the engagement of the whole society, but we cannot help everyone, and that is why assistance from abroad is so important. And that is why I would like to thank also the ambassador of Poland for Poland joining in this assistance, demonstrating the solidarity with Ukrainian people. And I would like to invite the ambassador to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. My heartfelt thanks to Caritas Polska and also Caritas Ukraine for the cooperation with this convoy, but I think you will agree that we have to add the information that this convoy embraced the help also that was organized or which was accepted by 3 Ukrainian organizations: Caritas Ukraine, Ukrainian Red Cross, and the organization Ukrainian Boundaries or Ukrainian Frontiers. In general, this was 150 tons of help, costing more or less $1 million. And these 2 components that were just talked about is a similar help and similar deeds for the Ukrainian Red Cross. This is also foodstuffs and electric equipment and heaters, first of all. Also sleeping bags. And as far as Ukrainian Frontiers are concerned, these are the packages for festive season. First of all, also foodstuffs. So if, in general, as I told you, this is a bit over $1 million, and we want to extend our great thanks to all Ukrainian partners. First of all, those who accepted this help. Again, I say Caritas Ukraine, Ukrainian Red Cross, Ukrainian Frontiers, our colleagues who were engaged with the convoy emphasize a very high level of preparation of our Ukrainian partners and a beautiful organization of everything that's connected to the convoy. This is number 1. However, there's another very important thing. Our thanks to those state and government structures that took part in this action, the Ministry for Social Policy. From the very start, we had to cooperate with them to documentize all the procedures, and we have to say that this had to be done very fast and with a result, and there was also a talk between our Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Schetyna, with Mr. Rozenko, the Ukrainian minister. When the Polish minister was in Kiev, he managed to meet the Ukrainian minister, and they finalized the details, so this was done very fast. Our great thanks to Customs and Border Guard Services. Joint procedures were drawn from the Polish side. They were realized, and of course this went very fast, and this helped the convoy to very fast traverse the road from Warsaw to Kharkiv. And again, our great thanks to the services of the Ministry of Interior of Ukraine, especially the Service for Emergency Situations, and the Ukrainian police, who were taking care of the convoy along the way. So our great thanks to all those structures. And we have to say that our colleagues emphasized that this was a very high professional level of cooperation. So if we talk about this convoy, I'd like to put a full stop here, but I would like to use this opportunity to add that, of course, this is just a part of the efforts that we see in Poland aimed to help Ukraine. If we talk about the size of the help from the budget, the help that was financed from the budget, this is almost 10 million zlotys, which means it's almost 2.5 million euro, and another 5 million euro was spent for different projects and programs from the program of help for development. Besides, we have to mention the great activity of activeness of Polish public organizations. We still cannot tell you what is the aggregate volume of this help, but Polish public organizations are very active. Partially they work due to the financing from the budget that's been allocated from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but also they collect money from the citizens, and that's why we don't have the full information. Besides, as far as we know, there's a rather huge amount that comes from Polish self-government, local self-government bodies who help directly their partners on the Ukrainian side. We can monitor this only from the mass media information. I had a chance to meet my colleagues from Ukrainian regions who talked quite a lot about this help in Lviv, Vinnytsia, Ivano-Frankivsk, Lutsk, and I heard a lot of warm and kind words about Polish help, and I'd like to say that we thank very much our colleagues from Polish self-government. They have very good contacts with Ukraine, they have their own partners and their friends, and they support them, and they've been doing this for the last year. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, and I invite thank you very much. And for us, Caritas Poland, this is very important. For us, Caritas Poland, this is very important that we meet here in Hotel Ukraine, not far from Maidan. Caritas Poland has been helping here since February this year, and we are performing a double function. First of all, we were asked by the Polish government to help deliver this convoy to Ukraine, and we've been also here as representatives of the Polish society, which wants to help Ukrainians. The entire cooperation and the help of Caritas Polska to Ukraine goes to our partners in Ukraine, Caritas Ukraine. And this is the project the 8th project that Caritas Poland is realizing in Ukraine. Today we're talking about the convoy of humanitarian convoy that's been financed by the Polish government, and Caritas Polska and Polish Red Cross and another organization have been helping in delivering this convoy to Ukraine. We are very grateful for the fact that we've been invited to cooperate in this matter. The convoy can be can be named a very successful cooperation at every level between Ukrainian and Polish partners, and I think that at all the levels we have worked gloriously. Yesterday we were in Kharkiv, and there this assistance is already distributed, and we have seen how this is being done. Due to the cooperation with the Foreign Ministry, the Caritas Polska and Caritas Ukraine are helping people in the west and in the east of Ukraine, and women IDPs. Several days ago, when the convoy was leaving for Ukraine, our Prime Minister, Mrs. Waskowycz, said that this is the start of the continuous cooperation and help of Poland to Ukraine. It is also important that we are here as Caritas Polska, and we are representatives of the Polish society. From the very start, or from February, from the times of Maidan, we are getting thousands and dozens of thousands of phone calls with questions how a usual person can help people in Ukraine. Even when I am here, I still get emails and telephone calls with the question how we can help Ukrainians. Over this year, from February, we've been implementing the project that only due to the donations from Poles, the aggregate volume amounts of help amounts to almost $2 million. And our presence here is very important for us, and we are monitoring the information which can tell us how we can further help Ukrainians and what are the needs here. When we were in Kharkiv, we found out that on the same day the public of Kharkiv were collecting the help for Poles who, that same day, 100 years ago, the people from Kharkiv were collecting help to send to Poles who suffered as a result of the World War I. And also I want to extend my thanks to Caritas Ukraine and for your attention. And we will further cooperate with all the organizations that are represented here. Any questions here? I think we still have some minutes to answer your questions, colleagues.
I have one question. Could you please specify how do you provide assistance locally? Because in Ukraine there were cases when the charity funds were during distribution, there were some issues with that. We understand that everything was fine with transporting that. I will give that, I will ask our coordinator, Mr. Hrihoriy Seleshchuk, to answer that. All the assistance is monitored from the very beginning, from the moment it crosses the border. We have initial documents which are stamped by our customs and different sanitary services who were who were just registering what crossed, what was what went via customs clearance, and everything is numbered. And when IDPs come to us for assistance, we give it not just anywhere, but we register, we account for everything. We also, Caritas Ukraine, in accordance with Ukrainian legislation, takes the copies of documents of those people, copies of their passports, copies of the certificates that the person is the internally displaced person, and these people sign, so we can monitor, we can follow up every package up to the last gram out of all 150 tons. And I would like to add that everything has been organized by organizations which are not here, the Red Cross and Ukrainian Borders. From the very beginning, I've mentioned that our partners are evaluated a lot by the organization from Poland, those organizations which were involved in transportation and those who were distributing the assistance. All the procedures are very transparent and very transparent, and we can just thank. No more questions, then I would like to thank you from all of us for your assistance. Thank you. The next briefing is at 12:30, Mr. Lysenko. And one more housekeeping announcement. The brief